Welcome back, troops. Let's Tab 59. Beautiful evening. Not had a chance to get out today. I found a couple of hours this evening, so make the most of it. Get out and do a tab. So, first of all, before I get into the meat of the video, what I want to chat to you about, I need to make a special mention about somebody. So, today I received a little package in the post. Now, I don't get many packages, but I got this little package from the postman this morning, and I thought, that's strange. I've not ordered anything. But anyway, opened it up, and inside was a paperback book, and it's come from a gentleman, called Clive. I'm not going to give out his full name for security reasons, but Clive is obviously one of my subscribers on here, and he sent me this book. There's a very nice letter inside, which is very flattering and very nice, and I was very pleased to receive it. And Clive is a detachment commander with the Royal Marine Cadet Force. I did a video a while back about how important I thought our cadet forces are. Obviously that's the Sea Cadets, and coupled with that is the Royal Marine Cadets. And obviously the Army Cadets and our Air Cadet Corps, and how important they are. So Clive's doing a great job as detachment commander with the Royal Marine Cadets. Funnily enough, I had a friend who was also, well, he still is, I thought, he might have just left. He was also, he was a sergeant, adult instructor with the Royal Marine Cadet Force, or the Royal Marines. Yeah, Royal Marine Cadets, isn't it? So, Clive, special one to you. Thank you so much for taking the trouble and thinking of me and sending me that lovely book, which I'll read. The book's called Yomping, and it's with it's a story of 4-5 Commando and their historic epic yomp across the Falklands during the Falklands campaign in 1982. Become legendary. As many as you know, we're always talking about tabbing and tabs. That's the Army, British Army slang, or for walking with weight on. Whereas our Royal Marines call it yomping. That's the same thing, basically, it's terminology. There's always that bit of banter between the Royal Marines and the Army, maybe, about tabbing and yomping. But Clive, brilliant. I'll read that book, mate. I was very, very much appreciated. Right. So, what I want to talk about was I was watching the news earlier. I don't watch a lot of news, to be honest, because it just does me head in. I was watching the news earlier. I just caught the tail end of this story about a police officer, quite a senior police officer. I mean, I don't know the ranks. I don't even know his name. I didn't catch his name on the news, but quite a senior guy. Got the old bit of white braid or silver braid around the peak of his cap, so he's obviously a fairly senior police officer. I don't know what force he's from, but apparently he's been caught out wearing the South Atlantic Medal. Now, for those of you that don't know, and those of you maybe outside the UK, the South Atlantic Medal was awarded to our armed forces, British Armed Forces, for the Falklands War. It was better known as the Falklands War. And of course, it's come to light that this police officer has been wearing this medal on several occasions. There's quite a bit of pictures and bits of footage of him wearing this medal, along with a campaign medal for Northern Ireland, campaign service medal for Northern Ireland, and a couple of Jubilee medals, I think. So I don't know the full story. I don't know whether he actually did serve in the Army or the Armed Forces before he became a police officer. It's quite a normal thing to happen. We get a lot of guys leave the Armed Forces and go into the police force. As I say, this guy's quite senior. But there he was, strutting around with a Falklands medal on. Now, most of you know that the South Atlantic campaign, South Atlantic Medal, the Falklands War, was a very short but very, very violent and brutal war. Stands out. I mean, it's incredibly violent war. And to think that this guy, this police officer, senior police officer, anybody here really shouldn't wear it. If you're not entitled to wear it, don't wear it. But how did he think he was going to get away with that? You know, strutting about with not many of those medals were issued in comparison to, say, the Northern Ireland medal, where, you know, it spanned nearly 30 years or whatever it was. You know, thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of those medals were issued. And the Iraq War, Gulf War One, maybe, you know, and Afghanistan, thousands of those medals were issued. But the Falklands War, you know, there wasn't that amount of people. It was only a 6-week war in length of time, so there wasn't as many of those medals issued. And I'm sure it's well documented who's got those medals. And obviously somebody eagle-eyed spotted him wearing a Falklands medal and thought, hang on a minute, I served with him. He didn't go to the Falklands. I don't know the story how he's done it. Now in this country, we call people that make out they've been in the Army or the Navy or the Royal Air Force, and if they wear medals that they haven't earned, whatever, we call them water Mitties. And I first come across the term back when I was still a serving soldier. Someone mentioned about it, and then it sort of come to light that these guys were getting caught out, and there was an organisation, if you like, I don't know much about this, to be honest, I don't know much about it, called the Water Mitty Hunters Club. And apparently they hunt down people like this police officer that's claiming to be a Falklands veteran when he wasn't. And there's some horrendous stories on them. I'm sure many of you have seen the Water Mitty Hunters Club and the people they've exposed. Now over in America, you guys call it stolen valor, and I believe in America it's actually a crime. I don't know how serious a crime it is. In this country, I don't believe it's a crime unless you're wearing medals for personal gain, financial gain or something like that. I'm not sure, but obviously this guy being a senior police officer, well, it's dishonesty, isn't it? And I don't know if he's going to be kicked out of the police for this, or I don't know the full story. Maybe it'll develop. You can let me know in the comments. My own personal experience, I've seen a couple of dodgy characters on remembrance parades and stuff like that. I remember I saw this guy once. It wasn't to do with medals. I was still serving at the time. I was on a remembrance parade down in Kent in number 2 dress, service dress I was in. I was a 001 at the time. And in the crowd, it was an outside service. We gathered around the War Memorial was a lot of public. And this guy stood at the front. He was about 4 foot and a fag paper. Quite an oldish guy. And he'd got a green beret on, but he'd got British Forces para wings, the ones you wear on your arm, sewn onto his beret, where his cap badge would be. And I thought, that don't look right. Unless it was some foreign thing, I don't know. But a green beret with British Army para wings sewn on. So I'm pretty sure that guy was probably some sort of Walter Mitty. But apart from that, I've seen a few dodgy ones like that. I had one incident actually, and unfortunately, and apologies to anyone connected with the cadet forces, it was a cadet instructor. So I was down at Shorncliffe, Sir John Moore Barracks. I was actually in Risborough Barracks, and before the Gurkhas moved in, I think it was, the camp was empty for a while. And well, it might have been before the Argylls moved in. Anyway, Sir John Moore Barracks was pretty much empty apart from brigade headquarters. The barracks itself was empty, just a med centre, etc. And there's 2 25-metre barrack ranges at the back of the camp, near the cliff tops actually. And while the camp was empty, my training team took responsibility for looking after those barrack ranges and arranging people to use them. So TA units and cadet forces could ring up and book them, and one of us would go up there on a Friday evening or whatever, Saturday morning, unlock it up, get them to sign it over, and then hand it back to us on the Sunday. So it's one of those days, right, to go in on a Sunday, had to get my kit on, drive into camp, and go and take these 2 barrack ranges back from the cadet force. So I pulled up at Sir John Moore Barracks in my car, and as I say, I wasn't stationed in Sir John Moore, I was in Risborough Barracks, so I didn't have a car pass. I was in a private car. So I had to park at the guard room at Sir John Moore to go in, to book in and get a car pass. And as I walked up, I saw some cadets, young army cadets, being marched around the parade square. A few adult instructors dotted about. And outside the guard room was a young sergeant, an adult instructor, not a cadet, an adult instructor, civilian instructor, in number 2 dress, a sergeant. Can't remember the cap badge. And I noticed he'd got a chest full of, well, he got about 3 or 4 medals on. And he's about 19. Now this would have been around 2000, 2001, something like that, early 2000s. Now, one of the medals he was wearing was a Falklands medal. He got a South Atlantic medal on. Now I knew that was wrong straight away, and I'll tell you why, because I was in the army when the Falklands War happened. I didn't go to the Falklands War. I was out in Germany. I was with the Royal Artillery at the time. Now I was, in 1982, I would have been 21, 22 years old, around about 21, 22 years old. And now this is 2002, obviously I'm in my 40s, early 40s. This young lad was about 19, 20 years old. I mean, he wasn't even born. And he's wearing a Falklands medal. So I didn't say anything to him. I walked in, I was a bit gobsmacked, walked in the guard room and waiting to sign the book to get a car pass from the Gurkhas. And there was an officer in there from the same cadet unit, an officer, I think he was a major. So I signed for the thing and he was still sitting there waiting for something. I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "There's a lad outside there, one of your instructors, I take it." "A sergeant?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I just clocked him." I said, "He's wearing a Falklands medal." I said, "That's not right. He's not even old enough. What's he doing wearing a Falklands medal?" And this is the explanation this officer gave me. "Ah," he said, "Sergeant Major, I'll tell you what that's about." He said, "We allow our instructors now and again to wear different badges and medals so the cadets can recognise them." I mean, come on. What kind of excuse is that? I said, "Well, I suggest, sir, you get him to take that right off now. Get him to take it. Any of the medals he's not entitled to wear, I suggest, sir, you get them off of him now." "I'm not doing that, Sergeant Major. You've got no jurisdiction over me." I said, "Oh, really?" So I took the details of the officer and I asked the Gurkhas to look at the book to find out who he was, and I got his full name. So on Monday morning, I went straight over to brigade headquarters with all the details of this. I didn't have the details of the young sergeant, but I had the details of the major. Went straight up to brigade headquarters, tabbed into the DCOS's Deputy Chief of Staff's office. He's a good lad. Tabbed in and saw him. He said, "All right, Sergeant Major, what's up?" I said, "I'll tell you what's up, sir." And I told him the story. I said, "And this major here, this cadet major, who are serving soldiers, but well, they're on a reserve type commission back then, I think, type B commission or something, like a TA commission. So they aren't just civilian instructors, they're actually commissioned. So they come under military law in my eyes." So I went straight to DCOS and said, "Look, this is what happened." And I told him the excuse the major gave me. Well, I don't know the full outcome, but I did hear from him, from DCOS, that it was sorted out. But to what level? I mean, what can you do to him? You can't do much. But I just thought it was very sad, and I thought I'd just mention that sort of thing after seeing on the news this evening, earlier on, this police officer. I mean, the Americans got the right name for it, stolen valor. That is absolutely the correct name for it. Walter Mitty, yeah, okay, I get that, I know what it's about, but the wording, stolen valor, because that police officer was doing exactly that. How many years has he been wearing that medal? That is stolen valor. Those lads that went down to the Falklands, and I've got a couple of mates that did go. I know a couple of veterans that went. That was no campaigns easy. They went through some crap. You know the history. That was a very kinetic, full-on war. Aircraft, ships getting sunk, blokes going in with fixed bayonets. And there's this copper wearing, I don't often get angry, do I? But I'm ranting now. But there's this copper who's got the front to think it was all right for him to stick a Falklands medal on, walk around a police station, probably looking down his nose at other coppers. "Here, check me out, my Falklands medal." I mean, I wonder what stories he was telling people. Because if I'd have met him, so I was working as a cop, I'd have said, oh, you went down south. Who was you with? Which battalion or, which regiment was you with? I'd have asked him about his experience. And because you do. You don't see that many Falkland veterans about. I know a few, like I say. But it's disgusted me, as. I hope they throw the book at him. I really do. I think it's disgusting. I hope he won't even get a job as a security guard at Boots, will he? He won't even get a job on the front door at Tesco's after this bit. Well, I'm hoping anyway. So anyway, sorry troops. Bit of a rant tonight. It's not like me, is it? I'm actually quite happy because it's a lovely day. It's a lovely blue sky. Now listen, coming up on the channel, I've got a real veteran, not a Falklands veteran, but a real veteran. It's actually a mate of mine. He's coming up from sunny South Wales, subtropical South Wales, to visit me. And he's going to stay with me in the caravan at our house for a little while. I'm hoping while he's here, I can get to interview him. Very interesting guy. Got very interesting life stories. Had a bit of a rough time after leaving the forces, etc. But we'll get into that hopefully in the interview. So keep your eyes out for that one. It should be in the next week or so. That'll happen. Last one, enough messing you about tonight, and here's another quick one. I said I was going to Kent for Armed Forces Day, me and the trace around. Then we had to change it because of personal circumstances, and we were going to go to Boston. We're not even sure if we're doing that now. So if anyone was thinking of trying to meet up with us at Boston, I don't think we're going to be there. The chances are, if we can manage to get anywhere on that day because it's so busy, it will probably be Skeg Vegas, good old Skeggy. There's something going on the pier, I believe, and I'll probably jump into the either Legion, stick my nose in the Legion for a pint, or the ex-servicemen's club on the seafront there. So apologies for messing you about, but I've had a hell of a time lately, but it's all sorting itself out. So troops, that's the end of that. Thanks for the support so far. If you haven't subscribed, please consider it. I'm not saying do it, I'm saying consider it. All the best to everyone. Clive, again, thank you for the book, mate. Much appreciated. Till the next time, troops, and it won't be long. Remember, let's tap.